going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode. It's a dang cold one up here in Canada today, so if you're cold, they're cold. So make sure to bring them on inside. I actually just got inside a little while ago from shoveling the old driveway, and it is still coming down. Ah! That right there is the life of a Canadian for the next 4 months. We're in the shop today working on the old 65 Comet, doing a little tinkering under the hood. But first, I need a coffee. So let's go. Alright, so there's quite a few things that we are going to be doing under the hood of the 65 Comet. So the first thing we're going to be doing, obviously taking everything that is not necessary, so all of these contraptions, taking those out, taking the air cleaner off, distributor out. We're going to be replacing the 2-barrel hybrid carburetor, putting a 4-barrel gas guzzler on there. It needs a new water pump, so everything in the front coming out. We're going to be doing head gaskets, taking the heads off, putting new head gaskets on, fresh fluids, brand new radiator going in, and may even squeak some headers on there. We're not sure yet. In the future, I plan on doing a Shelby drop, front suspension, bigger sway bar up front, disc brakes, at least on the front, upgrade to a dual reservoir master cylinder since that's only a single. And that's just to name a few things. There's going to be a lot of things going on, a couple episodes I'm sure, but this is what we're going to be starting with, the heart of the beast. So let's get to it. Alright, so we've got a few of the parts laid out here. We've got the brand new water pump, which should be nice. Brand new gasket kit. We also have our 4-barrel intake here. This was actually the same intake that we used on the Texas car. And we also have a 4-barrel that I found sitting in the basement. And it's actually really nice and really clean. So hopefully everything works there. I'll still pull it apart just to check everything, but it looks like a pretty nice unit. Alright, so like the first thing I said, time to remove some of these unnecessary Go Gadgets here. And then we'll get to work. Alright, so I went ahead and I removed the antifreeze overfill container. Don't need it, especially with the new radiator. I also went ahead and removed the secondary oil filter system, I guess we'll call it. And I left this little guy here because turns out this is the power steering pump reservoir. So it's not like the normal Ford systems that have the reservoir contained with the pump. This one is a separate unit. So basically you can see here, this is the pump that came off the car, and this is the line that goes to this line. And we took this off. We took that off when we were in Arizona. The reason we did that is because the power steering ram, there's a little cap at the end of it, and basically that cap had a a huge crack, and we couldn't fix it. We didn't have any other parts to fix it. We didn't have a new cap. We took all the power steering system off, left the power steering ram, and just basically ran it as a manual steering with the power steering system. So it is a little tougher, but it does work. So I may go ahead and put the power steering pump back on because I do have access to the correct parts now, or I may just go manual steering. We'll see what happens in the future. Also, these lines here are for the AC system. The car has air conditioning. So basically, I'm going to leave those parts as well. There's another line down here that goes to the condenser, and one goes to the pump, or the compressor, I should say. And we have all those parts as well. So who knows, later down the road, I may put the AC system back together. We kind of cleaned up the space, not entirely. We still got all this mouse crud to get rid of, but it's a little bit better than what it was, that's for sure. So we're gonna move on to the engine now. So I was just looking over some of the parts that I took off the car, and this was the bracket that went up against the shock tower to hold the radiator reservoir, the radiator overfill container. And on the back side was this little guy. And we got some little hidden key compartment. This thing probably hasn't been opened up in forever. Look at the plastic just crinkling. Just super brittle. Let's see if I can get a close-up of that. Just disintegrating, probably from the Arizona heat. That's cool. And it looks like there's 2 keys in there. Well, maybe there's 1. Oh, yeah, just 1 actually. So that's a brand new by the looks of it. It's cool. It even says Tucson key. Ford. Not sure if you're capturing that, but Ford. It says Tucson. I just thought it was cool. We're gonna wrap it back up as best as we can with all the plastic, put it back in there. Who knows? Maybe hide it somewhere on the car, just in case. Right there. Well, I can't believe my damn eyes. Holy crap, look at that. I don't think I've ever seen it that bad. Water pumps, not clogged, but geez, the passages are terrible. I don't even know if I want to put the new rad on. Obviously, a lot's going to get clean, but there's still going to be some stuff in the engine, which is going to worry me. So I might have to end up buying a filter for the radiator so that it catches some of that stuff. And I'll probably have to open it up every once in a while just to make sure that we're not clogging the filter and causing some overheating problems. But that's pretty bad. Feel like I'm working on a Mopar right here. Look at all this linkage. What's going on here? Jeez, that's not typical Ford style. We also got some other Dodge equipment here. What's going on here? I thought we were working on a 65 Mercury Comet. Look at that linkage. it's so Dodge. I'm so used to just seeing this one linkage off of the accelerator and just going straight to the carb on a typical Mustang. There's a crap ton of crud all on this engine, from oil leaks and fuel leaks in the past. Look, there's even a screw in there. It's literally fossilized on the intake. I can't even get it out. So I think one of Ford's most dumb ideas or dumb designs has got to be their water pumps. Like, big block Ford, 4 bolts, water pumps out. Small block Fords, 8 bolts. Okay, gotta take 8 bolts off in order to get the water pump out. That's a little ridiculous. And then the fact that they have to go through an aluminum timing cover right here. One here. I think there's another one here. Another one here. The aluminum over time kind of oxidizes and locks that bolt in place. And when you try and take it off, sometimes it snaps in here because you're trying to turn an oxidized problem here. And it snaps, and then you got to take the entire timing cover off just to get that one bolt out. So hopefully the fact that it's an Arizona car and that it's caked in oil and grease and stuff, that it'll be a little easier to take off. I've kind of shot it with some penetrating oil. So hopefully that does the trick. The distributor is moving now. Or it was. Yeah, there we go. So it is moving now. So we are good to go. Just keep dismantling. All right, so we got the water pump out, and I wasn't sure if we replaced this water pump while we were in Arizona, but I saw a few scratch marks in there, and I can only assume that we had the water pump off. I don't know if we replaced it though, so I would assume that's from us trying to clean the timing cover here. There was a fresh gasket, so I'm gonna say that it was still the original pump, but we just put a new gasket on and cleaned the surface here. So one thing I wanted to point out, which I noticed, is, let's just say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not sure if I counted that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Okay, so there's 9 bolt holes there. So when I bring this pump to the bench to match with the other pump, basically what I did was I took all the hardware off of the old pump when I was dismantling it, and I put it just on the new pump just so I didn't lose track of certain bolts are longer than others. And what I noticed was that this pump has this hole right here and this hole right here, but when I come to this pump, there's no hole there on either side. And I also noticed on these 2 bottom holes right here, these are through holes, meaning the bolt just goes right through it, whereas these 2 are threaded, so the bolt threads into the water pump. All right, so these are through holes, they just slide right through and secure to the timing cover, where this one bolts itself to the actual water pump itself. So after talking with a few people, 4speed_Falcon was able to inform me that this was an aluminum water pump, which you can tell just by looking at them. But apparently the aluminums were an early 65 design, and then after that they went to the cast iron water pump, as you can see here, which is why there's the difference. Basically the timing cover changed as well. One, you can see the propeller. The other one has the backing plate design. So I have to reorder a new water pump to be the aluminum style water pump, not the cast iron, in order for this to work. So I put one on order. Should be there within a day or so, and I'll be able to pick it up and get it installed. So that's where we're at right now. All right, so Dad's still on his way home from picking up a few parts. I'm gonna dive deeper into the engine, basically pull the valve covers off, pull the intake off, pull the distributor out, probably pull the exhaust manifolds off, and maybe even take the heads off. So let's get to work. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You know, there's some times where I just wish I didn't even know what was underneath the valve covers or intake. It's pretty bad. Why? Why do they always have to be so bad? Oh my God. Look at this. Like, it's just chunks, and like they're not even small. They're they're huge. That's bad. That's bad. Ugh. Oh God. I don't think this is just as simple as throwing a 4-barrel intake on this thing. Is that a piece of wood? Is that a piece of wood? That is a piece of wood. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Well. Oh man, that's fine. So yeah, I guess when the heads are off, we'll be doing a lot of cleaning. I really wish I could clean the block. Oh, there's some days where I just wish I could dump a 5-liter and a 5-speed in this and just call her a day. Oh, man. It's funny because it ran pretty decent. It's just so bad. I don't even know how the oil returns. Like, oh my God. Dad thought the brakes were the La Brea tar pits. I think we just stepped it up a notch here. It's like running off of tar. Anyways, gonna keep digging into her, taking the heads off, exhaust manifolds. It'll be fine. So, like, this is pretty bad. This compared to the 65 fastback, I would think this is actually worse in the sense that it is super dirty. This car ran, the 65 fastback didn't. It still technically ran before I pulled it all apart. It just overheated, so that's hence why we were doing the water pump and the head gaskets. I did the 5-liter swap in the 65 fastback. What was everyone's opinion on that? Did you not like the fact that I did that? It was in a time crunch, so that was my only option. Or would you have rather the old 289 in there? Because honestly, to get engines rebuilt up here, it's like $5,000 minimum, it seems. That means going through the entire engine, doing all the machine work. It seems like $5,000 minimum, plus all the parts that you want to add on top, blah, 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 blah. So a 5-liter, I could pick one up for $1,000, plop it in here, change a few things, harmonic balancer, timing cover, the water pump, all the V-belts, back to the original style. So it'll still look like a 289, but it's technically a roller 302. What's your opinion on this? Do you like the old school 289, or would you rather a 5-liter 302? Because I don't know. There's a lot of work to be done here, and I don't know if it's going to be worth it in the end to have an old clunky 289 that's not even rebuilt. I don't know. You let me know. Comment below. Well, I mean, I guess that's a little better. Oh my god, this is unbelievable how bad this engine is. Anyways, I'm gonna start taking the heads off and see what else we have to deal with. Alright, we are now down to a short block. Lots of crud in the rocker valley. In all honesty, this should come out and get rebuilt. Alright, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing with these heads. So I'm probably just going to clean as much as I can of the residue that's in there right now. Just clean that off as best as possible. And then probably run it through the Varsol and clean as much as I can, whatever's left. I'm more worried about this bottom edge more than anything, because that's where the oil will return and then end up back into the engine. So that's the most important thing, I guess you would say. And then, yeah, I gotta make sure that those are all clean so that the oil can pass through and down onto here from the push rods, which I just finished cleaning. So I'm probably gonna blow out all these little orifices that are probably plugged. And yeah, just throw it back together and say a prayer. And I really don't want to take the engine out, because if I take the engine out, then I'm just tempted to put a 5 liter that I have laying around here and just drop it in. So like once I take that out, it's really probably never going to go back in. I don't plan on building an engine in the sense of rebuilding a small block. Maybe just, who knows, one day down the road, do a crate swap or something like that. But we will see. Right now, this is what we got, and this is what we're going to be doing. So let's get to it. Yeah, just to clarify, that's only out of 1 cylinder head. All that dirt right here. Oh boy. Alright, so here's the difference between clean push rods and dirty push rods. As you can see, here's the dirty up front, and those are the ones I've already cleaned. For those of you wondering, yes, I labeled each one. For instance, that would be cylinder number 8 intake, cylinder number 8 exhaust, and so on. So that's one side all cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the other side, and then I'm going to blow each push rod out through the orifice right here, and start on something else. Alright, so spent a good amount of time cleaning up this cylinder head. The valley is relatively clean compared to what it was. I made sure all the holes on the rockers are all unplugged. They were kind of plugged. there was still air getting through, but not fully. So I grabbed my oxyacetylene tip cleaners. This is one of the junk ones that fell apart, so I put it back together. But I just ran them through the holes, made sure all the drain back holes going back into the block are all cleared, and just did a quick cleanup. Again, making sure that this is as clean as possible so that the oil travels as freely as possible, and also cleaned up the rockers a little bit. They may look dirty, but they're pretty clean. I just cleaned them with a screwdriver. And yeah, on to the next one. Here's to show you what they used to look like. I'd say that's a big difference. Alright, so got the heads cleaned up well enough that I'm happy with them. They're not perfect, but they're a ton better than what they were. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for this episode. I don't want to dive any deeper into the engine because we're not really sure which route we're going to be going. We have the old 289 all torn apart, and now we're kind of questioning on whether or not we should put it back together or if we should just yank it out completely and put a 5-liter and possibly a 5-speed in its place. So that's kind of where we're at, kind of at the crossroads here. Leave a comment below on what you think we should do. If we should just slap it back together, put a 4-barrel on it, and away we go. Or should we go through the whole hassle, pulling the engine, pulling the transmission, figuring out how to make the T5 work in the Comet, because it's not a Mustang, and going through all that. So the next video is actually going to have to do with this little guy right here. It's a 17/32 drill bit. So for any of you that know what this drill bit's for, leave a comment below. But she's going to move from here over to here so we can actually get some work done somewhere else besides the engine bay. So stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button to support the channel. And stay tuned for the next episode. Mike from Classic Mustangs 429, signing out.